Welcome to Beauty Marks Podcast, a space where we embrace marks acquired through our journey. My name is Elizabeth Savion, and thank you for joining me on episode 35 of this podcast. I honestly feel like I haven't talked to you guys in a minute because this week or these past weeks we've been doing a relationship series. So we've been talking about different topics about relationships and the good, the bad, the ugly, the great stuff. And so this week's episode, I feel like it's just me and you, so if you're listening to this driving or walking or doing some errands, I feel like it's just us this time. And I've been looking forward to this episode to just talk with you guys and kind of go through how the past weeks have been going. And this whole series, I feel like it really ended up challenging me in certain ways. For me personally, I feel like this is the first time that I openly talk about relationships because I've always been the kind of person when it comes to relationships that because of my past history, I feel like I was never someone that would give advice because I'm like, well, look at the fruit, look at my kind of relationships that I've been in. And what I have gone through. And, I'm not married. I've never been engaged. I've never been um in those positions. So maybe, the way that I think doesn't work. And I feel like this whole dating series, relationship series really challenged me to be like, wait, why do you think that way about yourself? Yeah, you've made mistakes in the past. Yeah, haven't had some healthy relationships always, but it's not like everything was bad in your relationships. You still know when something is good and when something is bad in a relationship. You still are able to help other people and have insight on those things. And over the past few months I have been also gaining knowledge from my counselor. So it's not like if I'm not I feel like we downplay ourselves because of our past experience, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to let my past um dictate my future and how I think. And I still believe I can have good relationships, and I still believe that the relationship with myself is so important to be healthy so that I can have healthy relationships outward. So I just wanted to throw that in there because, if I'm being honest, I did have those challenges of oh, relationships, I don't have a good record when it comes to that. So, but no, I believe, and I'm declaring this, that I believe I will have healthy relationships, in friendships, in dating relationships, in future, I will have healthy relationships. And I feel like that all starts in how we think, what we're capable of. I am capable of those things. So I just want to encourage you. You are capable no matter what kind of relationships you've had in the past, that you can always change. You can always learn, and you can always have a better outcome. Your past does not determine your future at all. At all, at all. So yeah, so these past weeks have been fun, listening to different people, my family, talking about just everything, and just seeing different insights, because I know that all my listeners are in different walks of life. Some people are single, some people are dating, some people are engaged, some people are married. And in that whole trying to figure out adult life, it's been fun. I've got a lot of good feedback. So thank you if you've told me that you've listened to it, or you've reached out to me, or have shared it. That means so much to me, and it just reaffirms why I'm doing, because sometimes it's hard, what I was just sharing a little bit ago. Sometimes I'm like, who am I to talk about relationships or bring these topics up, because I'm not in this 10 or 15-year relationship that's we're married and we have, we downplay ourselves because of that. So again, just sharing that. But I'm so glad that I have been able to talk about these things, and they have actually helped me too. And Valentine's Day happened a few weeks ago, and I definitely took some time off that weekend, and I feel like it was healthy for me, not because I'm salty. I promise you I'm not super salty, but I feel like I just needed to take a mental break, because I just have a lot of different things going on with work, trying to figure out my next step. I got my real estate license. I have been working many hours on different projects. I'm like doing makeup, marketing, admin, tax stuff, real estate. It's just a lot. And then plus my podcast and plus my other personal things. And I just kind of felt very, very overwhelmed. And it just happened to fall on that weekend. And I just kind of took some time off social media and it felt so good because I just felt like it was just also like I just wasn't in the right mental space to see all of that either. Again, not of saltiness. It was just like me emotionally, you know? And so I definitely took some time for myself. And I feel like that self care needs to happen. And if you're one of those people that like how I was for a very, very long time, like a people pleaser and like you don't say no to things, I'm telling you that there will come to a point that you will have to choose you. Like you will have to choose yourself. And like I feel like I'll repeat this again, like the relationship that you have with yourself really puts the foundation of how you have with other people. Of course, my relationship with God is the most important because he also keeps me on check from snapping and from being a certain person, but also the relationship that I have with me, like saying no, having boundaries with people, with things, like sticking to my own convictions and my own things and not bending because every time that I've bent or like said yes when I really meant no, like it ends up just hurting me more. So I took some time just to relax, just to unwind, journal, read. I had like a spa day, like, and it was just really nice. Like it was just well needed. So I hope that you have had good weeks, in the midst of all that may be going on. And so, anyway, so let's just get into today's topic, which I'm excited about. And it's about the love languages. And if you've never heard of the love languages, this is actually a book called The Five Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman. And this whole thinking or breakdown of the languages is from like a study that he did with multiple couples of what they kind of brought up the most like in counseling like of what problems they either would always bring up like were the main issues and things like that. And so he did a lot of research on this and found that like broke it down into like five things like that people receive and give love. They show it in different ways, which is like the five love languages. And he talks about it as like filling your love tank. So, like for some people, so I'm going to go through them, it's like words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, physical touch, and you can receive and give love the same or different ways. But usually the way that you give or express love to people, meaning like if you spend a lot of time with people and you feel like it just makes you feel good, like it's just like, I love spending time with this person. That also might be an expectation that you expect people to show you undivided like attention and quality conversation and time because that's the way that you also give it. So it's definitely a really good book, and it's not only for relationships, meaning like couples, this is also even within your families, within your friends. So I thought that this topic is so good and actually was a recommendation by one of my friends. And I think that this is just such a good topic because I know that this has helped me so much when it comes to even my relationship with my parents, my siblings, my friends, like knowing the way that they feel loved and appreciated and seen and heard versus what I want to show. So, Dr. Gary Chapman talks about, when your emotional love tank is full, that usually is a way that you're able to like fully be recharged to give the same back. So for example, like he compares it to having a car. Like it's like your love tank is like an oil level in a car. Like you fill it up and you have to be, filling it up, before it runs out. Because what happens when it runs out? The car stops working or something happens or it smokes up or it leaves you on the side of the road. So when it comes to relationships, it's really making sure that you are filling that love tank with what that person needs. But that goes both ways. So it's like give and take, so like, the person's love language and you're intentional with those things, and they know yours. And so first of all, you have to communicate what yours is. If you have never heard of the love languages and you're like, what the heck is this? You can actually go to five, like the number five, lovelanguages.com, and you can actually take the test to figure out what your love language is. So you can find out if it is quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, physical touch, whatever yours may be. It'll give you a better understanding of what I'm saying, but I'm going to break it down for you guys. And I wanted to make this episode definitely practical and for something for you to take away. And if you have heard of this, but maybe you forgot, did like a little refresher for you. And so let's just kind of go through how you deepen connection, each love language. So, for example, with words of affirmation, unsolicited compliments are very important to this person. So, if words of affirmation are important to you, they usually encourage, affirm, appreciate, and listen very actively. And they also like that back if that's also the way that they receive words of affirmation. So, like hearing I love you, or hearing reasons behind that love, like explaining, in words, and just like letting them know how much you appreciate, support, love them, why you love them. Sending unexpected notes or a text or a card, writing out something is very, very important to this kind of person. Things that will hurt this kind of person, if words of affirmation is like a very important love language to them, is actually not recognizing or appreciating someone's efforts. If they are insulted, so with your words, because if words mean so much to them, if you insult them, that's like the extreme level for them, because that's like the opposite. They don't feel loved at all. And so, for them, like they really hold on to what you say. And so kind and positive words are life-giving for people that feel love with words of affirmation. The next one is quality time. So quality time means quality. People always think that it's like, oh, someone that's needy. No, that's actually not the case. Like quality time is like quality time when it comes to like you and that person really connecting on like a deeper level. So it's like uninterrupted time with this person in a conversation. So, it's that one-on-one time when you're just like literally talking, listening, like that person's not like on their phone or scrolling through Instagram, or they're FaceTiming you and they're like texting or like doing other stuff. It's like, no, it's like full conversation and time with you. And this, especially, I know is hard for people when they have like a very busy schedule. So, like, it's like dedicating that time to that person, even if it's like an hour of your day, to be like, okay, like this time I'm going to like be right there. I'm going to be right here. So like, for example, for me, quality time is very, very important. And in my family, like with my sisters, we're also very quality time people. So like when they come into town, or they're here, we love spending time together. We have like deep conversations, like we watch something together, we have dinner, and it's really like diving deep into like each and every one of our lives, what's going on, what are we thinking, and then we all get annoyed at each other, and I've been guilty of this with other people, is like, I pull up my phone or like things like that, but that's like for them, like it's like offensive, because it's like, if I'm there at that moment, I only get to see you, especially like with us as a family, we only get to see each other in person, a handful of times. So it's like, okay, let's like really focus in and enjoy the time together. If it's like with my friends, same thing. It's like if I'm out with them, it's like trying not to be like trying to really be present in the moment is very, very important for people that are quality time. And so, create special moments, like do something small with that person, even if it's not even sometimes about what you do, it's just about like you being with that person, and spending time with that person. So you can literally go like shopping with someone, or like just sit on the couch or watch a favorite show together. And, and so all of this again is like breaking it down so that that all these things need to be communicated to someone. So if they are not that way, so for example, if you are not a quality time person, and the person that you're with is a quality time person and you're like a gift person, that can mean that sometimes for you, like, not seeing them as much, it doesn't, like, affect you as much, but, like, if they send you flowers or if they send you an intentional gift or they send you something special, then you feel like, wow, like it equals to the same as like spending time with them. So it's like trying to learn the other person's love language and being intentional with it. And you have to give people grace, of course, because if that's not their love language, then it doesn't come naturally to them. And they also don't expect that from you. So like if you show up with a gift and their words of affirmation or their acts of service, they're kind of like, well, thank you for this gift that cost you $150. But honestly, what I wanted was like for you to text me or write me a letter or spend all day with me or spend this time with me or, mow the grass or like do some help me out with stuff that I have going on. Like, so it's just knowing how the other person is. And then again, there's talking in relationships, friendships, family, and all of that. With quality time, the cons or like the things that are very harmful or hurtful for the person is like distractions, when you cancel plans or like postpone activities, like not committing to things, when you said you were going to either hang out or call them and all of that, and failure to listen. So like you're just distracted. Um, and so the next one is receiving gifts. Someone that loves receiving gifts means that they love someone that's thoughtful and the effort behind the gift. So it's not only like about money, it's more about like if you made them like something super detailed for them that they like you heard them say a long time ago and then you like intentionally put all the things together that they've always loved or that they like forgot about and you do something with that, so you give them a gift that's personal to them. And, for someone that, for example, if they're loving, if the way that they give love is that they give you gifts, so like they're always giving you gifts, making sure that you appreciate those gifts, even if those gifts aren't meaningful to you, if that's the way that they show love, that also ends up showing you that, like they actually put the effort in, like they're showing you, they might not be telling you that they love you, they might be giving you something, and for them, that's their love you. And so for this person, like when you miss a birthday or an anniversary, or you give them a gift card, or you're absent, from everyday little things for them, like that person may feel like you don't love them, so that goes like both ways. So it's like forgetting special occasions, all those things, like because that for that person that's meaningful, then it's like being more intentional when it comes to those things. The next one is acts of service. So it's actions over words, which this is my top. So it's quality time for me and acts of service for me. It's like actions over words. Like you can tell me all day something, but like where are the actions behind it? So it's like acts of service is someone going out of their way to be helpful or supportive to the other person. So, helping them, if it's helping them around the house or relieving them from something, or if they told you, hey, I'm super stressed today, but I still have A, B, and A, B, and C to do, and I don't know how I'm gonna get through it. And then that person says, hey, actually, like I'll go run that errand, or hey, I'll go do that for you, or hey, how can I help you? Like, you know what I mean? So like they put themselves in that position to assist you with whatever may be going on, instead of just saying like, oh, I hope, you figure it out. So, helping them with that person, or even, for example, which when I was reading the book again, it was talking about, even as little as like filling up their gas or buying them something that they needed, like the groceries, or cooking something, or watering their plants, making their coffee the way that they like it. Like, so it's like if every morning, I'm thinking about this even is like as little detail, like you just remember that they like their coffee, or they like this drink, or they like this snack, and you buy it for them. And you just make it for them, and you have it ready for them, because that for them, that's something that's going to help them on their day, because that's one less thing that they have to do. So it's just being thoughtful in your approach or what you're doing. So things to avoid with people that for them it's meaningful when you show acts of service. It's not following through on small task or large task, or just kind of being like dismissive about those things, like about if they're expressing something to you about, you know, their list of things that they have to do, you just being like, oh, sucks for you. Like, instead of like you trying to take initiative, um, and assuring them that you have their back, and you show it by the actions that you take. So the last one is physical touch, and that is, hugs, pats on the back, holding hands. Um, and that is just like for them, that's like a safety of care and love. So it's not when people think physical touch, and when I thought about this, at least in relationships, I thought it was like, kind of like a sexual thing, but it's really not. It's more of like just being present and just accessible to them, and just fostering a sense of, belonging and security in a relationship. So it's like nonverbal touches, so it's just showing them that you love them in that way. So, hugging, cuddling, all those things are important, as well as things that you should avoid for people that, for physical touch, that means a lot. It's physical neglect or abuse, kind of like rejecting them or pushing them off. Those kind of things can be very hurtful. So this is like the overall 5 love languages. It was words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, physical touch. And, there's some people that say like, oh, well, the really hard one should be like definitely acts of service because you have to like put in the work, or like quality time because what if you're really busy, or gifts because like what if I don't have money, or like words of affirmation, like what if I just don't, I'm not expressive, or like touch, what if I just literally don't like people touching me. So it's like, I think that it's about learning what the other person is, and again showing them in the way that you again feel comfortable, but also learning um and then growing in that. Because for example, like if I look in relationships, um, for me has always been quality time, quality conversation. And something in the book that it said was always like, your biggest complaint is usually the area that is most important to you. So for example, if you're always complaining like, wow, we never hang out, or like, why are you always on the doing other stuff while we're on the phone, or like, why can't we never have like a day for ourselves, or like, why can't we do this, like that's probably showing you, indicating for you that that's very, very important. Because usually it's like, if that other person doesn't have your same love language, for them it sounds like what, like, but I saw you like 3 days ago, like why is that a big issue, like we're going to see each other this day. But if for you that's very important, then that's why you complain about it. It's like your love tank isn't full. Maybe for them, they sent you a cute text 2 days ago, and they feel like, well, but I'm telling you that I love you and I can't wait to see you. But for you, it's like, yeah, but like, I want to see you physically, like I want to talk to you. I don't want you to just send me a message or to buy me flowers and that's it, like send them to my job. So it's just interesting how like these whole 5 love languages can really save your relationships, because it literally saves the hassle of trying to figure out why there's a lot of unmet either expectations, or the other person saying that they don't feel loved, when it's like maybe you're just not showing it in the way that they receive love. And for them, what you're doing is not like, you guys aren't speaking the same language, like when it comes to in relationships. So like for example, if I talk about my family, like I know for my dad, the way that, like, it's very rare for him maybe to um gift me something, like, like give me something like physically, like a gift, or um, even in quality time, like I feel like that's not really like our strong suit in conversations. For me, I feel like the way that my dad has always like shown that he's loved me is by acts of service. Like he's like the first person to like show up if I need something done in my room, if I need something around the house that needs to get done, or like if I tell him like, oh, like a little thing like that I'm always taking like 10 carrying like 10, 15 things in my hands, like when in the morning, like when I'm going to work. And he was like, you know what, like you're gonna hurt your back and like just he was just like telling me like you're gonna end up like breaking something or like you're gonna drop something one day. Like, and so he goes to the store and he buys me like a little like cart, like a little cart with like roll with wheels on it with that I can pull around like a teacher, like where I can put all my stuff in one thing and then like pull it in and out of my car and just like roll it in somewhere. And I thought that that was so thoughtful because I'm like, wow, like you really are thinking about me. So like he shows, he cares about my safety and all of that. And he does like hug and those things. So like I feel like those are for him, like hugging or acts of service is the way that he shows me love. And for my mom, it's actually words of affirmation. She's very big into encouraging and she's definitely a gift giver. So like she'll like buy you something that she saw as like a way that she tells you that she loves you. So like words of affirmation and gifts, like she'll be the first one to send those messages daily, like like just saying encouraging words like I support you, I'm so proud of you. Like she says that like all the time, even like little things, which I love them both for being the way that they are. So it's just learning people's love languages. And even with my friends, like I feel like we all, like I have realized that they're all very different. And I've asked them too, like, what are your love languages? So I understand the way that maybe they might not communicate. Because for me, my top two is quality time, which is quality time and conversations, and acts of service. So someone like that's also the way that I show up for people. Like I'll be like, you need something, like I got you. Like, how can I assist you? Like, how can I show up? How can I be there for you? And like I try to like like assist them in whatever they're going through or whatever they need, and so and spending time or like calling or texting, checking in, those kind of things. But maybe I know that maybe some of them aren't that way, so it's like learning, okay, so like if they didn't respond in the way, because for me quality conversation or quality time, like maybe I can see them for a month, so it's like how can I still connect with them or show them that I appreciate them or that I love them in the way that they can take it. So all of this can be very, very helpful in all your different types of relationships that you have and just figuring out what works for you too and things that might take time to learn because again, if physical touch is not, if you were never raised or you were never like hugged as a child or growing up or you weren't touchy, like that might be very strange for you and you just might feel like okay, you're like in my personal space, so it's just like learning. And this can also look different in couples versus with family, but usually it's, I would say, the same. And so if let's say you want to discover your own love language, you can go and take the quiz, but also these are 3 questions that you can ask yourself. What does someone fail to do that hurts you most deeply? So, out of like words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, acts of service, because the opposite of what hurts you most likely is your love language. That's what I said a little bit earlier. Number 2, what have you most often requested of someone else? So if that's like, "Hey, you're not spending enough time with me," or like, "Why don't you tell me I'm pretty?" or "Why don't we ever hug?" or like, "Why don't we ever kiss?" or like, "Why don't you ever buy me anything?" or "Why don't you take out the trash?" when I told you, like those little things. So like think about what your most request is, and that's probably what makes you feel most loved. And the third thing is, in what way do you regularly express your love to others? So, like, which way are you like texting your friends daily or sending them like, "Hey, you got this today," or like, "Hey, good morning, I hope you have a great week," or are you like hugging them, or are you sending them flowers or like sending them a coffee? Or are you like, hey, like every week trying to like meet up with them or call them daily or do some check-ins? Or are you like expressing it through making breakfast or dinner for someone or go out of your way to help someone else? So it's like looking at the way that you also are for those around you. So like think about like in your relationships, how are you in that? Like how do you feel like you share the love? And then in your for your parents or for your siblings, how is that? And then with your friends, how is that? Because those usually indicate which way you give love to others, but also which way you like to receive it. So I really hope that this was informative to you. If you haven't read The 5 Love Languages, I definitely recommend it. And this is not just for couples. I just want to make a disclaimer. They have books for singles, teens, parents, couples, men, military, long distance relationships. They have like a lot of options. So if you want to learn more, don't forget to go to 5lovelanguages.com to find out your main love language. And this wraps up today's episode. So I hope you take this into this week and just give someone a little bit of love. And if you are not feeling like your love tank is full, make sure to express that to someone that you need it from. So like make sure that they also know what your needs are, because those are if they're not communicated, they're not going to be met. It's like ask and you shall receive. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode. I hope you have a great week. As this month ends, it's crazy. The February is pretty much over. So thank you so much. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast. Follow me at Elizabeth Sabby on Instagram and Facebook. And make sure to leave a review. I really appreciate anyone that leaves a review, lets me know what you think, shares it with a friend. And thank you guys again, always for your support. I will see you guys in the next episode.